In the aftermath of a grisly battle, two bizarre monsters,
Throk, the strongest Ur-man,
and Oven, a messenger of the goddess of death, stood together and heard the dying prophecy of Ymir, last of the storm giants and king of Giantkin.
Three possible dooms he foretold, of darkness, of destruction, or of the dawn, closing with the words, "Beware the boy."
Ymir also gave to Throk a medallion representing Kord, the giant god of storms and strength, decreeing that Throk's might in battle was pleasing to Kord.
After the giant breathed his last, the fallen bodies on the battlefield began to rise and walk, forcing Throk and Oven to walk with them to a nearby village,
where the dead stared at a teenage boy named Raylan. Every dead eye in the place remained fixed on this boy.
Until Oven committed their bodies and souls to the Raven Queen, dropping them all again where they stood. After meeting with a member of her clergy, Oven found herself under orders to keep an eye on the boy.
Throk came along to avoid the responsibility of being the new chieftain of his tribe, a position that was rightfully his now that he was proven to be the strongest Ur-man. Kind of left it in the hands of Granda, an Ur-woman, and Hork, an Ur-child.
Seeking shelter and anonymity, the three of them traveled to the city of Zahir, near the border between the warring nations of Argus and Zamar, but found the walls locked tight.
It was then that Raylan first spoke in a voice not his own, using dark magic to assault the guards and claiming afterwards not to remember it. The party still did not gain entrance, but Oven and Throk were not warned that there may be more to this boy than meets the eye.
After being forced to sleep outside the city wall, the party encountered a traveling priest named Darrow.
Darrow had papers that gave him the permission of the temple to enter the city despite its secure lockdown in the midst of war.
He proved willing and able to falsify those papers, adding Throk, Oven, and Raylan's names and getting them all into the city.
Darrow also used his disguise skills to help his new monstrous acquaintances to pass as human.
I carry the bag.
Then led the group to an inn in a rough neighborhood where they would be less likely to draw official attention.
At the inn, Raylan borrowed a coin from Darrow and asked a young girl to have dinner with him.
What do I do?
She's either gonna want money or your life.
So I should go over there.
Yeah, just go.
When the girl instead grabbed the coin and ran.
And he says, "Where do you think you're going?"
Sorry. I was reliving the moment in my head.
Forced to abandon the scene of Raylan's horrible crime,
Which he did not remember committing.
the party moved on to an even seedier inn.
It was here in a back room that Throk found Darrow standing over the body of a murdered nobleman.
And learned that Darrow was actually a changeling with the power to look like anybody.
Throk respected the murder as an act of strength and chose to keep Darrow a secret when the changeling left.
That night, an assassin crawled through the window of the group's room and attempted to murder Raylan. He fled believing he had succeeded.
And Raylan only survived due to the medicinal powers of his comrades.
The assassin never spoke or revealed his identity, but Oven did see a symbol on his clothing that they later learned was that of Asmodeus, god of tyranny.
Who?
The next day, when Oven, Throk, and Raylan attempted to leave the inn, they found a local street gang waiting for them, wanting to avenge the death of the girl Raylan had murdered, who was one of their own.
There in the city street in broad daylight, the three of them unleashed all their horrible might against their would-be killers.
Not a single member of the gang escaped.
Though some tried.
Darrow reappeared in the guise of Elon and offered to keep the party safe if they would accompany him to another part of the city and listen to his appeal for help.
Traveling to High Vault, the upper-class area of the city, Elon put the group up in a mansion that he revealed was actually the headquarters of the Storm Brood, a secret cult of Kord that operated within the Temple of Arathis.
The Storm Brood sought to throw off the shackles of religious oppression that required all people in Argus to worship only Arathis. Elon wanted to recruit the party for a more direct action against the Storm Brood's opponents.
The party stayed to recover their strength and discuss the proposition after using an absolutely disgusting salve that Elon gave to them.
The foul-smelling salve worked wonders for Throck and Raylan, but soon left Oven comatose.
The disgusting goop had been created by the Stormbrood's chief political obstacle, the evil wizard Carolynn. It was this wizard whom Elon would have sent the party to kill, but now they needed his help to save Oven.
Raylan, Throck, and Elon climbed the wizard's tower and broke in from the top down. While inside, they discovered that much of Carolyn's power was being drawn directly from the life force of magical beings.
Including a giant who begged Throck to kill him and told him to seek the giant homeland of Jotunheim.
With the death of the giant and the other magical creatures, Carolyn's tower began to crumble, but the party was able to find the wizard, knock him out, carry him away before the collapse killed them all. Elon left Throck and Raylan to handle Carolynn alone. After questioning, the wizard revealed that his group would heal only creatures native to his plane of existence, and Oven, being an interloper from the realm of the dead, did not count.
With some gentle persuasion, he then told Throck and Raylan how to prepare the antidote for Oven, using potions stolen from his own lab. Now, once the potion's usefulness was confirmed, Raylan killed the wizard, and Throck took his finger as a souvenir.
Meanwhile, Oven experienced a bizarre dream in which she wandered through Shadowfell, speaking with odd creatures and trying to interpret their meanings.
She saw many references to duality, doom, and hidden secrets before finally being yanked back to consciousness by the antidote given her by her friends. With Oven recovered, she, Throck, and Raylan chose to try and escape the city. Upon leaving the Stormbrood's mansion, however, they found all of Zahir in an uproar.
Turns out that a number of horrific things had happened in the town over the past day.
The body of the real Elon had been discovered in a seedy inn in a bad neighborhood.
A trio of monstrous creatures had been seen using horrible powers to murder citizens outside that same inn.
The Tower of Carolynn, a respected member of the city High Council, had mysteriously collapsed in the night.
An evil creature resembling Elon had been captured by the city guard hours after the man's death.
Knowing now that this must be their friend Darrow, the other three party members set out to rescue him.
They managed to intervene in a public beheading just in time to help Darrow escape, but not without demonstrating again to the people of Zahir that creatures out of their worst nightmares now stalk the city streets.
Oven was recognized as a Shadar-kai by a beggar in the crowd, who was secretly the leader of a local cult of the Raven Queen, and therefore regarded Oven as a messenger from the goddess.
He led her and the others to a dank cellar used as a squat by the downtrodden cult members, who had to hide their true faith from the authorities here.
It was here that Darrow fully explained his changeling nature and his bizarre ability to control shadows.
Raylan also transformed fully into Zalios, a devilish-looking winged creature that actually shared a body with the boy. The two of them, essentially one person with two personalities.
Raylan had briefly repressed his knowledge of Zalios, but it was in fact Zalios who had murdered the girl in a tavern and killed the party's foes in combat. The actual Raylan, it seemed, had not consciously hurt anyone.
Now that Zalios had manifested, the pair of them revealed that they had been raised as the Promised One by a group called the Cult of the Chained God, but escaped after their mother was murdered.
The next morning, the party decided it was time to leave Zahir before things got any more dangerous for them.
Prior to making its exit, a Raven Queen cultist reported that horrific monsters had begun crawling up from the dungeons beneath Carolyn's collapsed tower, and that the citizens of Zahir were in great danger.
Yeah, we still left.
The cult of the chained god butt.
God.
God butt.
The chain God butt. It's spaced.
God butt.
Cult of the Chained God, but escaped after their mother was murdered.
This dude got through that whole thing without nobody. When
God butt.
we were
God
all
butt.
reading for you when you weren't here. Nobody got through God butt in space one time. Not one time.
Because it's so funny.
God butt.